Good morning, children. Saina. How are you all? I hope you all are well and a little bit stressed also. You all must be worried about your examinations, right, children? Children, examinations are just a small break, or you can say a small inspection to actually analyze what you all have studied. When we are talking about examinations, we understand what we have really studied. We initially realize that we what all do we have studied, how much have we understood, and how much are we left with. Okay, children. So do not take stress for your examinations, upcoming examinations that are going to start from commence from 21st of September, that is Monday. Okay, no need to worry. You all will get good marks and you'll get thorough properly. But be honest and study properly. Okay, children. Let's continue with chapter number 2, land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife resources. Let's complete this chapter. Fine. Up till now, I have taught you about the last topic that we took about that we studied was degradation and methods by which we can actually conserve soil and the steps taken by the people to conserve soil. Now, next topic that we are going to study, that is water. Yes, water everywhere, not a single drop to drink. Now, when we are talking about water, children, it is a very vital source, important source. Then it is a renewable natural resource. Now, 2 points I have told you that water is an important source and it is a vital resource. It is a vital renewable natural resource. So children, in that manner we should try to use it in an optimum manner. I repeat, in an optimum manner. Water should not be wasted and should be used according to the human needs. Children, you can see water covers 71% of the earth's surface. And now, what is the composition of water? When we are talking about the water, you can have a look in your geography textbooks as well. When we are talking about water, at least 135 liters of water is used by every person present on earth. Now, first, 97.4% we have the water. Appropriate and accurate percent of water is in oceans. Then from this we have the 0.592%, that is groundwater, and 1.998 means 1.99% in ice caps and glaciers. Now, this is what we actually have. This is what we actually have. This is the portion which we have readily accessible fresh water. You can see lakes have 0.007%. Then you have soil moisture 0.005%. The actual amount of water available on earth is actually, if we say that if 3/4 or 75% of water possess on earth, and that is why it is called a blue planet. So out of that also only 1% is potable. The other sources of water you can't drink. I mean, other sources do not actually cater you the potable water that is fit for drinking. Moving to the next slide, where you can see fresh water is 2.5% and other saline 0.9, and maximum majority is from oceans, glaciers, ground ice caps. So it is quite impossible to drink the waters from oceans as well as lakes, because due to the salinity, or you can say impurities present in that water. I repeat, due to the salinity, that is, the water is salty, saline in taste, that is salty in taste. So it is impossible to drink salt water. You can see that fresh water on the slide on your screens, that fresh water is the most precious substance on earth. Only 1% of fresh water is only 1%. I repeat, children, only 1% of fresh water is available for humans, and we should not waste it. Now see, sources of water. What are the sources of water? We all know surface water, that is lakes, reservoirs, that is lakes, reservoirs, rivers, and rivers dam to create reservoirs. Reservoirs store water during heavy rain or snow. See, you can have a look on the rivers, lakes, and ponds. But do you really think that these sources are totally reliable to for drinking water? Can you directly drink water from an ocean, or you can directly drink water from a lake? Is it possible for you? No, you cannot. How will you drink water from a lake? Either it will be saline, that is salty in taste, or it might consist of impurities. It might have bacteria, it might have germs, it might have flies actually drowning in that water. So do you really think that water, this kind of water, is fit for you? It's potable for you and you will drink and you'll stay healthy? No. So that is why the water needs to be treated before it comes to you in your homes. When we talk about uses of water, now for what do we use water? Brushing, washing, cooking, bathing, watering plants, drinking. That is the first and the foremost purpose, right? Basic drinking water. Without water, we'll die. As we take out fish from the sea and it dies, isn't it? Same with us. We will also die slowly if we will not get water, ample quantity water to quench our thirst. Water is very valuable, children. It is a very precious element. It is an important source of, you can how can we say it, that yes, it is a important source of life. It is an important resource for life, not source of life, resource for life. It caters the and renders us the, you can say, as a small plant. We are just like small plants, herbs and shrubs. Without water we will die. As for example, if we do not water the plants in our garden, what happens to them? They what does happen, what actually happens with them? They start drying, they start rotting, isn't it? That is why we what we do, we water our plants regularly, isn't it? And by the way, do you have green trees, at lush green trees at your home? Do you all have a small garden at your home? And do you really take care of those plants? Do you water them regularly? You should, and you should not waste water. Now, causes of water shortage. Now, why do we face water shortage? First, can anyone tell why? Tell. Okay, the first reason is global warming. Then we have lack of floods and lack of rains and floods. Then these are the natural causes, okay, which are gifted or which we receive by nature. Now, what are human causes? Population, industrial works, pollution, bad consumption. Now, what is the meaning of bad consumption? Can anyone tell children what is the meaning of bad consumption? What do you really understand by bad consumption? Bad consumption means that somebody, if we are using water in an excess amount, and that excessive amount does not refers to that you are using water, if even if your requirement is 50 liters of water per day and you are forced to stop it. No, if you need water for your use, it is okay. But if you're wasting, and how do we waste water, which is the bad, actually the bad method of consumption? When you are bathing, when you are brushing your teeth, when you are washing utensils, what do? While we are brushing, we keep the tap open. While we are bathing, we keep the taps open. So this is categorized as the bad consumption of water. Now, problems of water availability. This is water scarcity. And you see, this is the scene of desert area where we have really scanty rainfall or scarce minimum rainfall. In those areas, people die out of starvation. That is, they die out of thirst. They are dying out of thirst. They, when they don't have water, what will they do? Will they be able to bath, cook, drink, and leave about bathing and cooking? When they do not have water for drinking, how will they resist their life? So children, water is an important source and a resource. It should be valued and it should not be wasted. You can see there is a lot of problem. Without problem water availability, many people actually are not able to survive properly. Many areas, I'll take it, this is page number 16 that I'm getting from the geography textbook, that there is a scarcity of water in many regions of the world. Most of Africa, West Asia, South East Asia, parts of the Western USA, Northwest Mexico, parts of South America, and entire Australia face shortages in fresh water supply. So children, what you have to do? So you should take care that not even a single drop of water should be wasted. Fine. See, this is a picture which shows you the where, see, one third of the population live in the countries with water shortage. According to the experts forecast, this figure will increase to two third by 2025. So let us not waste water, and we should actually save water for our future generations. Now, the issue of concern is how to conserve water, how water resources should be conserved. See, reducing water needs, how you can do this? First, when we are talking about water efficient crops, 1 pound of cotton can now be produced with the 1/2 of the irrigation water. Now, how to water? Irrigation requires a lot of money. Irrigation requires a lot of water, and this irrigation can be catered by many methods like drip tip irrigation, sprinkler methods, in which maximum water will be shared to the fields but reducing to the wastage of water. That is, the water will be in adequate amount. Adequate, the water supply will be adequate, but the only thing is that your water will not be wasted. Now, if we talk about water conservation, more methods how we can conserve water. Main points of water conservation are that restoring damaged or destroyed terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems, maintaining diversity in a population, keeping drinking water clean, reducing the amount of pollution in the water, and reducing over harvesting of a species. That is the when we talk about maintaining diversity in a population, it means that population should be controlled and people should take care that they should not actually inhabit it, or they should not spoil the places where drinking, you can say, any source of water is there. Suppose people are living near besides a river and they are actually blocking the area and using this that particular source of water there for their own personal use. Second, if people are living near or besides any source of water, what actually they do is they start polluting the water. And how do they do this? Is very natural and human tendency. Every one of you knows that what do people do? They dump the garbage as well as sewage in the water bodies, which is absolutely wrong. The contamination of water bodies actually lead to water pollution. Now, contamination means actually polluting water bodies. Reducing the amount, and the reduction of water pollution will only exist when people themselves will take care of this particular concern. Now, next, when we talk about our natural vegetation and wildlife, when we talk about vegetation, wildlife, I think it is the most beautiful portion of life. And it is not about, when we are talking about most beautiful portion of life, children, vegetation and wildlife, it is about the, you can say, wide variety of, or vivid variety of weather, climate, topographical features, animals found there, birds found there, etc. etc. Fine, let's have a glimpse. Before jumping to the explanation, I have my geography textbook with me. Okay, children, let's have a glimpse. Some school children were visiting an exhibition on handicrafts. The articles in the exhibition were collected from different parts of the country. Mona picked up a bag and exclaimed, "This is a beautiful handbag." "Yes, it is. It is made up of jute." The teacher said, "Do you see those baskets, lampshades, and chairs? Those are made of canes and bamboos. In the eastern and northeastern humid regions of India, bamboo grows in plenty." Jessie was excited to see a silk scarf. Now, Jessie is really excited to have a silk scarf with the beautiful print on it. So, what was the reaction of Jessie? Just see. "See, this is such a beautiful scarf." Now, the teacher explained that silk is obtained from silkworms that are bred on mulberry trees. Which trees? Mulberry trees. The children understood that plants provide us with many different products that we use in our day-to-day life. So, natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere that we call biosphere. So, what is the definition of biosphere, children? Can anyone tell? Natural vegetation, the thin contact, the narrow zone of contact between lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere is biosphere. Okay, children? Hope you've understood this. Then, after biosphere, we have another definition, ecosystem. We have another definition called ecosystem. Now, what is ecosystem? Sorry. In the biosphere, living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for their survival. And this life supporting system is known as ecosystem. Fine, children, this is known as ecosystem. So, children, narrow zone of contact between lithosphere and hydrosphere and atmosphere is biosphere, and natural vegetation and wildlife exists only in biosphere. Now, what is biosphere? Biosphere is a thin layer of soil, water, and air that sustains life on earth. See, children, you can easily see when we are talking about atmosphere, lithosphere, and hydrosphere, a mixture of these three, this particular center is called as biosphere. Okay, the layer of soil, water, and air that sustains life on earth is called as biosphere. Now, before jumping, when we talk about biosphere, that we have already known. Now, why, how, what do the plants and animals do for us? Why natural vegetation and wildlife is important for us? Now, plants provide us with timber, shelter to animals, produce oxygen, protect soil for growing crops. They act as shelter belts, give us fruits and vegetables, help in storage of underground water. Wildlife includes animals, birds, insects, and aquatic life forms. They help. You all know that there are many kind of animals, milching dairy animals. Okay, dairy animals, milching animals. That is, they provide us with milk, meat, hide, wool, etc. Now, many of the birds help in pollination of flowers, decomposers in ecosystem. They actually act as decomposers in the ecosystem. This cycle of this life cycle, every one of you knows when we talk about a life cycle where a particular herbivorous animal is consumed by a carnivorous animal, and a carnivorous animal is consumed by the scavengers, and then by the dead and the decayed, the ruined parts of the body are consumed by the decomposers of the soil. So in this manner, that life cycle keeps on rotating each and everything. If first of all we have if we have greenery everywhere, we find herbivores animals like cow, buffalo, sheep, goat. They need green grass for grazing. Fine, they need lush green grass for grazing. They consume grass. They provide us with certain items, certain products such as milk, wool, you can say, what is it, ham also. Many things are there. And if suppose the carnivorous and carnivores are consuming the herbivores, they are protecting the life cycle. They are not doing any wrong thing, because this is to maintain the balance of the nature, balance of the ecosystem. Okay, children. Now, when we talk about distribution of natural vegetation, the growth of vegetation depends primarily on the temperature and moisture. The major vegetation types of the world are many. Okay, plants need moisture and heat in order to survive, that we all know. All plants, I mean every human being, any life bearing organism needs water as well as sunshine, light to survive. This is not only for plants. Fine. When we talk about natural vegetation, it refers to those plants that grow without any human interference. That is, nobody plants anything anywhere. They come up, they grow up automatically without any human interference. There are three main types of natural vegetation in Canada. Okay, tundra, forest and grassland. Canada is divided into 7 natural vegetation regions. And if we talk about the Indian natural vegetation, we have the major vegetation types of world are grouped as exactly forest, grassland, scrubs and tundra. Fine. Now, in the areas of heavy rainfall, huge trees may thrive. And when we are talking about the forests are thus associated with the areas having abundant water supply. See, if we are talking about forest, it means lush green grass and trees, right? So how will the plants survive? With good rainfall or you can say sources of water nearby. As the amount of moisture decreases, the size of trees and their density reduces. Short stunned trees and grasses grow in the regions of moderate rainfall, forming the grasslands of the world. Thorny shrubs and scrubs grow in dry areas of low rainfall. In such areas, plants have deep roots and leaves with thorny and waxy surface. They reduce loss of moisture through transpiration. Tundra vegetation and polar regions comprise of mosses and lichens. Fine. Now, this is a map which you can see, and I would like you to do this map in your geography notebooks. This map actually displays different sectors or segments of natural vegetation, where you can see yes, the tropical moist tropical moist deciduous forest is shown by light green color. Then we have tropical wet evergreen. We have tropical evergreen forest. Then we have tropical semi evergreen, and we have tropical dry deciduous. So all these regions you can see in India. The blue is the alpine and subalpine. Himalayan dry temperate is shown by a little more darker shade of blue, and dark blue shows the Himalayan and moist temperate zone. Yellow is shown by tropical thorny vegetation. Dark yellow is representing subtropical conifer forests of India. So children, you can see how vivid and vast is our country in these kind of vegetations. Now, Okay, children, now you can see the different types of vegetation. Tropical, you can see tropical evergreen forests, tropical deciduous forests, tropical thorn forests and scrubs, montane forests, mangrove forests. Fine, children. Now, these kind of forests, they denote the different climatic conditions of different regions. So for suppose I have explained you tropical evergreen forests, deciduous as well. Now we talk about, and thorn forests and scrubs also. Now we talk about evergreen, deciduous as well as mangrove forests in a little brief description. Forests are broadly classified as evergreen and deciduous depending on when they shed their leaves. Evergreen, the word itself means that these forests stay green forever. They do not shed their leaves ever, simultaneously in any season of the year. Now, deciduous forests shed their leaves in a particular season to conserve loss of moisture through transpiration. Both type of forests are further classified as tropical or temperate based on their location in the different latitudes. Now, you've already learned in detail about the various types of forests and distribution in your previous class. Now, today there are many more people in the world than there were 2 centuries back. To feed the growing numbers, large areas of trees, that is the large areas, vast lands which comprised of, you can say, grand forests, they are being cleared just for the sake of availability of land in order to cater shelter to the increasing population. I hope you have understood. Now, this is a live example, children. Though it is not so clear, but it is a live example. See, different types of flowers or birds which inhabited according to the vegetation. See, this is Brahm Kamal. This is Brahm Kamal, a medicinal herb which is found in Uttarakhand only, and a blue kingfisher. This you will find only near the areas, you can say, which are surrounded by abundant water bodies. Next, when we talk about the mangrove forest, these are the forests which are found in the deltas of the river Ganga, the Krishna, the Godavari and Kaveri. They actually are abundant with these forests. Mangrove forests are actually, and one more example is of Sundarban Delta, which is where you can find mangrove forests, where these forests are inhabited in the or you can say near the Ganga basin only. Fine. Next, we have our tropical deciduous forest. You can say it is the most widespread forest in India. They are also called as monsoon forest, spread over the region, receiving rainfall between 200 to 70 centimeter rainfall. On the basis of availability of water, these forests are classified into two further categories: moist as well as dry deciduous forests. Then we have the thorn forests and scrubs. They receive in this region, these regions have less than 70 centimeter of rainfall. The natural vegetation consists of thorny trees and bushes. They are scattered and have long roots, that I have told you, and they comprise of mosses and lichens, so that they minimize the water loss. Palms, euphorbias, and cacti are the main plant species found over here. Animals found here are rats, mice, rabbits, fox, wolf, tiger, lion, wild ass, etc. Steps of conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife. Forest, children, we all know, are an important resource. They are our wealth. They give shelter to human beings as well as animals also, and they maintain our ecosystem. Changes in climate and human interferences cause loss of natural habitat for plants, animals, and even human beings. If suppose, why did I include human beings also? When we talk about massive rainfall or flood, what happens? The total cycle is disturbed. Shelter for none is actually left. Whose shelter is saved if a cyclone or a flood strikes? Does anyone actually is left with a good shelter? No. The flood takes away everything. So such a natural calamity disturbs the shelter, the living style of everyone, whether it is human being or the animals. Now, many species have become vulnerable or endangered also, and some are on the verge of extinction. To conserve natural and vegetation and wildlife, we should not hunt animals for our sake. First point. Then wildlife and endangered animals should be kept in sanctuaries or animal preservation centers. Natural, the spelling of sanctuaries over here is wrong. It is wrong, children. The spelling of this sanctuary is sanctuary. Fine. And then natural resources, vegetation and wildlife should be secure and being always checked by forest officers. That is, the forest officers should check the well-being of the resources, natural resources, vegetations and the wildlife. That is the utmost priority of any you can say natural resource. Without wildlife as well as vegetation, ecosystem is not at all possible. Now, forest policy and conservation, that it was given how to check, how to keep a check on the species as well as how soil should be conserved, how much land is required for everyone. If this policy states that whether it is human beings or whether it is animals, they should have separate sectors of inhabitation so that none is disturbed by the other. Now, after that, I have an important thing from the textbook, that forest fires. Now, what are forest fires? Forest fires is an important concern that should be known to you. Forest fire is a threat to the entire region of fauna and flora. It occurs mainly due to three reasons. Natural fire due to lightning. I repeat, natural fire due to lightning. Then fire due to heat generated in the litter due to the carelessness of people. Purposely caused fire by local inhabitants, mischief makers and miscreants. This is an important term, children, forest fire, which needs to be cured, because without the treatment of forest fire, we cannot save the life, we can't save our wildlife as well as the forests. Next, how to control forest fire. Prevention of fires through education. Then, prompt detection of fires through well coordinated network of observation points, efficient ground patrolling and communication network. This patrolling means check, not that petrol that you are putting in your cars and vehicles. Now, one another important point. National park. What is a national park? A natural area designated to protect the ecological integrity of one or more ecosystems for the present and future generations. This is there in your geography textbook, page number 21. Then, what is a biosphere reserve? That is an important question. Series of protected areas linked through a global network intended to demonstrate the relationship between conservation and development. That is, series of areas, that is, there are some portions of lands which are linked globally so that the relationship between the conservation and development is saved, preserved and taken care properly. I hope children you have understood this chapter properly and hope your doubts are cleared. Whatever work is given to you children, kindly do this work on time, and notes as well as other helpful material will reach to you very soon. All the best for your examinations. Thank you and Saira.